Aram, arat, arat. Aramus, aratus, arant, aro. Aro, aris, arit. Arimus, aritus, arant. Okay, now, so what does soon mean? I am. What does aram mean? I was, right? It's imperfect, so we have that, but I was nothing, it's just the to be verb, so it's just, how about what is aro?
I shall be.
Or I will be, right? I shall be or I will be. Okay, how about arit? Okay, so future. Arant. They were, right? So that aram, aras, arat, do you remember reciting that in foundations? Okay, most of us, we did all those recitations, and so we did aro, aris, arit. Does anybody remember anything different about aro, aris, arit, arimus, aritus? Anybody notice anything different between what we recite? Who was in foundations last year? Okay, or tutoring foundations. And do you notice anything different between the future of soon and what we did as we were doing the, all our verb tenses? Aro, eris, erit, aramis, eritus. What's the next one? Errant, right? And what does this say? Errant. So we're going to talk about that today. So just remember, we're on page 76 in the grammar book. The 3 tenses of soon. So anyway, let's just say them one more time, okay? Soon, est, soon, estis, sunt, aram. Aram, aras, arat. Aramus, aratus, arat, aro. Aro, aris, arit. Arimus, aritus, arant. Okay, good. Okay, so somebody tell me okay, thanks. What are the 4 principal parts of a verb? What does that mean, the 4 principal parts of a verb? We memorize them. Okay. Does anybody know what they tell us?
Which conjugation they are.
Okay, they will tell us what in particular will tell us?
The second one.
The second principal part will tell us what conjugation a verb belongs to. Good.
That's the infinitive.
Okay, and it's called the infinitive, yes. Okay. Okay, well, in general, the 4 principal parts is every form we need to conjugate a verb in all its tenses. Okay? So you sort of remember that. All those 4 principal parts have a reason. They're, just like in English we have principal parts. We'll be doing lots of that this year in foundation learning those. But, the 4 principal parts is every form you need to conjugate a verb in all its tenses. Now, we know 3 tenses already. What are those 3 tenses? Present, imperfect, perfect, and future. And we build those on what stem? The present stem, right? They're all built on the present stem. Where do we find the present stem? In the second principal part, the infinitive. Okay, you guys got this, okay? So let's just do them. We're going to write them up for each of our models. So what is the 4 principal parts for laudo? Laudo, laudari, laudawi, laudatus. Excellent. Okay. How about for moneo? Moneri. Yep. Now, anybody remember this? Monui. Monitus. Excellent. Okay. How about this one? Nito. Materi. Missy, good. Missus. Did I tell you guys to memorize these all every time you get a verb? You memorize all 4 principal parts. I thought I might have, but I wanted to remind you that. And what's the last one? Audio. Audire. Audiwi. Auditus. Okay, excellent. So we've labeled this our infinitive, our second principal part. We know that. We know it's how we find what conjugation a word belongs to. Excellent. Okay. we learned that we can find our stem from this too, right? Okay. What's this? Do you remember what this is? Right. First person, singular, present tense, active, indicative. Okay, that's what that gives us. So it gets us started in our conjugating, la do, la das, la da, et cetera, et cetera. Well, today we get to go to a new principal part. Okay? So you've probably been wondering what these other ones were for. Okay? So today we're going to erase everything. We're not going to deal with these today. And we're not going to deal with this today. Okay, we're going to deal with the third principal part. Okay? Now, do you see anything in common on those? Anything in common? Well, say it louder, please.
Oh, they end in I.
They all end in I. So what do they have in common? They all end in I. So right there, that's, I wish I had different colors. Maybe this red works. That tells you that to find the stem, you're going to drop the I. Okay? Watch this. You drop the I on all of these, and you now have the stem for your perfect system. Okay? Laudoa is your stem for first. Monu is the stem for second conjugation. Nis is the stem for third. And Adawa is the stem for fourth. Does that make sense? And you know what I mean by stems because we've already done that with the present system. You know, and then we added endings. So I'll give you a minute just to look at that. Now, who knows the endings for the perfect system? Just a regular perfect tense. Okay? Some of you are going to know this. I bet their little girl on the floor probably knows these endings. Okay, so, oh, is she getting nervous over there? E, isti, it, imis, istis, Aaron, right? We've memorized these already. Okay, not everybody has, but some of us have already memorized them. E, isti, it, imis, istis, Aaron. Let's say it. Ready? E, isti, it. Imis, istis, Aaron. Again. E, isti, it. Imis, istis, Aaron. Do you know how much it drove me crazy when they said I on the TV?
Yes! That drove me insane. I could hardly speak it that way.
I couldn't ever, I'd be in my car listening to that stuff and I'd yell, E!
Me
You
too.
know,
I was
it just
doing
drove me
that.
crazy. So anyway, so it's E, it's the it. It's this Aaron. Now what am I going to put that on? On the stem. So we'll do with Laudo. So I put my stem how many times? 6 times, right? That's all I have to do is put the perfect stem 6 times. Okay, and then I can add my endings that we've already memorized, or some of us have. Okay, E is E, it, mus, istis, erant. Now the nice thing about us having memorized that is it doesn't have the regular personal endings of OST, must, isn't, that we have been very consistent with. In the present perfect, okay, we'll say this is the present perfect, they're very different, okay? Although we still got must, tis, uns, and so it's really just E is C. That's a little bit different.
What are these called again? The E is
Okay, so
C.
these are your, these endings are your present perfect endings. Okay, now in your book, they're not going to use the word present perfect. in your grammar book or in any reference are only going to call it the perfect. Okay? I like to use present perfect to distinguish it from the pluperfect and the future perfect. I just feels like it makes sense for us to do that. But and that's actually correct, present perfect. But the book, this particular book doesn't use it. So these are your present perfect endings. You add them onto your stem. Now you might want to know how you translate these, right? Okay? So let's think about it. I'm going to let you guys just think about it for a second. How do you translate present perfect if you haven't been already in the second class? So what do you think?
We and what? No.
Okay, so you remember how present tense had 3 different ways? The perfect tense also has 3 different ways to translate. The simple perfect, the progressive perfect, and the emphatic. Okay, just the same. Okay? So, let us think of one. Think of it like our simple past. Okay, our past tense. How would you translate our past tense? If you want to use the word praise.
What? Oh, praise. Praise.
Okay, so praise. Okay, so they praise, I praise, you praise, he, she, it praise, we praise, you praise, they praise. We want to do that with imperfect, but here's where we get to do it with the regular perfect. Okay, so how else?
It did. Praise.
Okay, good. You know, instead of do, now it's did praise. Did you praise Caesar would be the perfect tense. Okay, and there's one more. This one might be a little bit trickier. And it will have the word have or have.
Oh, have praised.
Have praised. Okay? So we could do
So it's ed, did, and have. Is that what we're adding to?
ed, did, and have. Yes, so I verbed, I did verb, and I have verbed. Okay, whatever verb you might have there. Okay?
And did praise is the emphatic, is that right?
Yes, this is emphatic.
And that's considered progressive perfect?
Maybe not. Maybe it's something else.
No, that's correct.
Is that right? Okay. Okay. Thank you. After I said that, I was second guessing myself on that. But, okay, so those are the 3. So let's do it for the second. I'm going to let you guys do it. Take moneo. Okay, remember moneo, monere, monui, monitis. Okay, and see, you put on your endings. I'm going to leave the endings up there and conjugate it in the perfect tense. Okay, and then I'll do it down here. Okay, check it. Do you see how easy if you don't know exactly the stem and you remember just drop the I off, you could leave the, you might forget the U. So it's real important to know your principal parts and you know, okay, if I'm doing the perfect system, I just drop the I off and that gives me my stem. It's really important. So, does anyone try to translate this? It means to warn or advise, remember? Who wants to translate one of the ways to translate this?
I warned.
I warned. Go
I
through.
did warn.
Okay.
I have warned.
I have warned. Somebody do it with you.
You did.
Okay, you did warn. What else? I warned.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I have warned. Good. Okay, how about this one?
She had warned. She did warn. She had.
Okay, so you got that? Okay. So now, do you want to go through with each one, third and fourth? Or you got it?
Nope.
Okay, do third. Third is a trick one. Okay, so look at third. Mitchell, materi, missy. Okay? So if you haven't memorized it and all of a sudden you see this, you have no idea what that word is, because you know that mito is I send, so what's run? See, if you don't know all the four principal parts, it's really, really important. Okay? So go ahead and conjugate Missy.
You said there's a trick in this one?
Well, the trick in this one is only the stem is so different. You know, like what, you know, so that you can't put it on your first principal part. You have to know your third principal part.
I didn't
Some
want
of
to
the
write in
other-
marker if I was going to have to erase them.
What?
I didn't want to write in
Oh,
marker if I
right,
was going to have
right.
to erase something.
No, no.
So I colored.
Okay. Yes.
Did you say the name, when we memorize these four principal parts, what is kind of the
Third one?
third one?
Oh, that is a perfect, first person, what is it? First person perfect.
It's perfect indicative active.
Perfect, okay,
Yeah.
first person active indicative, perfect. Okay, first person perfect active indicative, thank you. Okay, everybody on board? Because I'm ready to move on. Okay, so that is the perfect, the present perfect, the book will just call it the perfect. Now we're going to do the pluperfect. Okay, we're going to get all three of these in today. Now, the pluperfect is really nice because it's only translated one way, and it's always the same. And I really like that about the pluperfect. Because if you see this word, you know you have a pluperfect. It doesn't matter what voice or what mood or anything. If you see the word had, verb, you have pluperfect. Okay? Now, have you heard that word pluperfect before? Okay, okay, not everybody has. Okay? Yeah, I mean it's sort of, okay, so pluperfect, okay, we'll just write that word down. Pluperfect, okay, comes from the Latin plus quam perfectum, okay, which means more than perfect, okay? So it just means, you know, perfect is sort of finished, pluperfect is more than finished, okay? It happened long ago. It had happened. It had verbs, okay? So that's just where you get the word pluperfect from, okay? Now, the nice thing about the endings on pluperfect is you already know them if you know the imperfect of soon. Okay, do you think we can try to recite that by memory? Eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erat. Now, you just take your perfect stem and you put the imperfect of sum on it. And you have the pluperfect, okay? So let's do that with the first. We put this imperfect down 6 times. Louda, louda. Okay, you got your perfect stem down, and then just stick your imperfect of sum on there. We can't even sing it. Okay, now who thinks they know how we're going to translate it? I already sort of told you. I was very emphatic in my telling. Okay, so let's say it together. I had praise, you had praise, he, she, or it had praise, we had praise, you all had praise, they had praise. Isn't that one nice and easy? You know the ending, and you know pluperfect is had. Okay, do it with mito. Okay? So we're going to skip second, and we're going to go to the third conjugation on this one. See, I just went to the third principal part, drop the I, and add the imperfect endings of soon. Or we can just call these the endings, pluperfect endings. Pluperfect endings, eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erat. Okay? Anybody want to, one person want to translate it all?
You say that again. Those endings are the perfect of
Imperfect.
The
Imperfect
imperfect.
of soon.
of soon.
Okay? And they introduce soon right before this chapter for this very reason. So that you, and unfortunately we didn't do that, so that you have the memory skills of these endings already before you get here. So who wants to translate how we're going to translate these? One person do it, all of it.
I sent, you had sent.
Right.
You had sent, he, she, it had sent. We had sent, you had sent, and they had sent.
Excellent. Great job. Okay? So everybody on the same page? Any questions yet? Because you know I'm moving on. I'm trying to get lots of translating. It's our last day and I want to do lots of translating today. So we're going to go to future perfect. Okay, what was this one called? Pluperfect. Okay, so we're going to go to future perfect. Now what is future perfect? If you had to think about it, what is it sort of telling you? Future perfect.
It hasn't happened.
I will and.
Okay, so you know you're going to have will. Future is will, right? And so we got to have a form of will, and then we have to have a form of the perfect. Okay? So that's awesome. That you heard that in there. Future perfect. Okay? So we got will. And as we did the perfect, do you remember one of them had the word have or has? Okay? And that's what we're going to put here. Will have verbs. Okay? And this will, so you've got to have both the future component and the perfect component. And that will get you future perfect tense. And this makes so much sense because guess what endings we need here? What endings do you think we're going to put on the future of soon? Okay? So it just is so logical. They're going to put the endings of the future of soon on the perfect stem. So we'll write down that perfect stem 6 times. Okay, and then I'm just going to remember my future of sum, and I'm going to say ero, eris, erit, erimis, eritis. Who said erint? Ah, that's right. Was it because you were looking at the book? Okay. And when we memorized it as tutors, this is how we did it. Okay? Instead, you know, the future of soon is a runt.
Right.
But if you remember, we've already used that one in the perfect. When we did ist, it, ist, a runt. So we couldn't use it here again, or we wouldn't know which one. So they changed the future perfect third person plural to a rint. Okay? I will tell you, you are very, very rarely going to find future perfect. You still have to see, you have to know, but we don't, you will have eaten dinner by the time you went to the movies. You know, sure, we just don't use it. So, and they didn't either. That's a nice thing, but it's still a tense and it's still something we have to memorize. But easily forgotten because not very often used.
Where have we already used it?
Oh, in your perfect? Okay, so if you look back, just turn back right here. Underneath back. A runt. See, so we can't use the a runt. We have, it changes.
For the present perfect.
We use it for the present perfect, so we can't use it for the future perfect, like it is in the future of soon. Okay? So I will have praised, you will have praised, T-Shirt will have praised, we will have praised, y'all will have praised, they will have praised. Okay? So what I want you to do, while I erase this board, and I'm going to put some stuff up there, I want you to take paro. Okay, this is just a simple first conjugation verb. Take the word paro and conjugate it in all three perfect tenses. Okay? Paro. I'm not giving you the four principal parts. Hopefully you know them. And if you don't, I told you first conjugation is regular. So they always look like laudo. Okay? Almost always. A couple are different. I know. I don't want, there's always exceptions. Okay. So I'm giving you 3 minutes while I write some sentences down.
Which tense?
Perfect, perfect, and future perfect. I should have given a prize who could do it first. Everybody done? Okay, so let's just conjugate together, okay? Alrighty? And keep writing if you're doing it. Okay, so we'll start with parawi. Parawi, parawisti, parawit, parawimus, parawistis, powerrun. Okay, poweram, poweras, powerat, poweraramus, poweratis, powerarat. Okay, this is a terrible one I picked. Parawero, paraweris, parawerit, powerimus, paraweritis, powereris. Sorry, I can't do it. Oh, that's dreadful, dreadful. Okay, sorry. Next time I gotta take that off my sheet to do. Okay, now we're gonna parse this. Okay, we're gonna look at these verbs and we're gonna parse it. That means we're gonna tell ourselves. The first thing we want to do is tell ourselves what conjugation it is. If you don't tell yourself what conjugation it is, you're going to be sunk to figure out what tense it is sometimes. I mean, not always. So, garabat. Anybody know what conjugation it is? If you had a guess, what would you think?
Third.
Third?
Third.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what you're
the tense. You got the tense. But we want to know what conjugation. Okay, so you think, okay, gero, gereri, gessi, gesses. Okay, so then you know, if you can say the principal parts of gero, then you'd know what conjugation. You see how this works? I'm going to tell you it's third. Okay, it's third. Okay, what person?
Third.
Okay, third person, singular. What tense?
Imperfect.
Imperfect. Excellent. So how do we translate that? He sure it was. Anybody know what gero means? It means lots of different things.
It means it means to carry.
Yes.
Carry.
Yes. Carry.
This is the pain in the butt one that we kept messing up.
Well,
It means to carry.
Well, it does. It means carry. When you have it with vellum, it means to wage war. So you want to.
Wow.
That's important too. Well, because it's carry on war.
Caesar.
So they're just using
You're
the
gonna
idiom
say
there.
something nice. Caesar carried something. It means
Okay.
gero, not.
So good.
thinking-
Next one. What conjugation is this word from?
Oh, so it's third.
Third. Okay, because it's our model, so that's nice and easy. Okay, what person? Tis, right? You. So what person? Second. Singular or plural? Tis. O-S. O-S-T mus tis. Plural. Now, what tense? Third conjugation. Okay.
Perfect.
Well,
Future.
okay, what's your name? I want to talk to your son. What's his name? Isaac. I know. I'll learn someday. Well, today's the last class anyway.
Today you
Oh, really?
John.
Oh, awesome. Okay, Isaac.
I know.
Why did you say future?
I was just guessing.
Okay. It never hurts. Does it ever hurt to guess? No, and there's no shame in guessing. Absolutely not. If you don't guess, you'll...
Shame of your mothers.
No, because if you don't guess, you never get it right. I'll tell you that. So I like guessers. So you get points in my book
That's
for
why I give
guessing.
discouragement.
Okay, but he's right. When he said future, he was right. Now, why is it future? Somebody. Okay. Remember, third and fourth conjugation. The way you know it's future is you have the E as a stem vowel. So how are we going to translate this? You all will send. You got to watch for these. Okay? You have to watch. They're going to trick you if you don't remember that rule about the third and fourth conjugations. Okay?
Where's that rule? Is that rule written down?
Well, in your grammar book, you know, if you're memorizing your forms and you're on page 45,
Hey, I'm there. 45.
future tense, instead of bo, bis, fit, bimus, bitus, bud, it says metam, metes, metet, metanus, metetus, metent. That's the rule, and the same with fourth. So this is really handy.
And if,
I love chunks.
I told Ann this, there's,
yeah.
on the portal, there's a download for that, and it has the declensions, and then at the bottom it has the Latin verb endings, and they have it wrong.
Can I borrow this a
Yeah.
second to get my husband to make a copy?
So, you have to, cause it has US instead of IS in the future. So anybody who's downloaded that from the portal, or from CC Connected, downloaded it and memorized the wrong.
But if they're using the trivium tables instead of.
They typed it wrong. They
The
put-
trivium tables
Well, no, whoever made that
What's
chart
on that
and
chart
loaded
is
it
wrong.
onto CC Connected, they put,
Somebody needs to email that chick.
yeah, and it's one of those things where I downloaded all these and never.
Do you have a blank one of those? Okay, okay. Then I'll have somebody else run it to the office. Maybe Brianna, if she has a blank one, you can run it to the office for me.
I've got one question on that first one.
Yeah?
Can you know that it's third because it doesn't have the macron on that E, that second E?
Oh, well, no, because, you know, I'm not the best with macrons.
Okay, well, I was just
So never
curious.
depend on me for that.
Okay, but would that,
Sometimes that will tell you things. Macrons sometimes tell you things.
you
But
need it in a second.
I'm a failure at that sort of thing.
Well, I'm not good at your second.
Okay, let's go on to this. Okay. Contendant.
I don't have the exact one, I have the, just the
Okay.
Latin noun ending blank.
Can you take that and just ask him to Xerox that for me too? Okay, how about contendant? What conjugate? Contendo, contendere, contendi, contensus. So what do you think you got?
Second or third?
Probably
You
third.
said condary.
Right, right. And if I said it better,
But we don't.
condere versus condary, then you know it's third, okay? So now what do you got? What person? Okay, I'm gonna learn your name too. Third, Grace. What person? Ends in NT.
NT.
Third person, singular, plural. Anybody?
Plural.
Plural. What tense now?
Future.
Okay,
No.
you'd only have future if there was an E here.
Yeah.
Okay, so third, this is present tense. Okay? And they hasten, they do hasten, they contend. Okay? Next one, laudas. What conjugation?
First.
First, hallelujah. Okay? What person? What person we got here? Second person,
Singular.
singular. What tense?
Present.
Present tense. Gotta know these, right? Okay, you praise. How about this one? Monobit. Okay, first just, we'll put in our mind what conjugation? Good, Isaac. Second, Sarmato. Okay, what person?
Third.
Third person, singular, plural. Singular what tense? Future. So how are we going to translate that? He will warn. Okay, let's do this one. Misserent.
Third.
Okay, third person. Okay, third, oh, we got third conjugation,
Yes.
like Mitchell. Okay, we also have third person,
Plural.
plural,
And this is gonna be one of these ones we did today.
errant.
Future
Future perfect.
perfect.
You guys are getting this. So you translate it, they will have sense. Okay? Mune wemers.
This is, that was one that had like the E that you drop or something? Or no? Like
Had that
mit-
letter I, yes.
Yeah.
Is a perfect, yes. Okay, what about this one? What conjugation? Oh, that's a,
Moneo.
I don't know. Okay.
Moneo,
that-
right?
It's not moneo,
Manu-
it's
mu-
manui,
This is that fortified one.
okay?
That we
We
use
fortified.
If you see it like that, and you got that I-O there, moneo, probably what?
I was gonna say first, but
No, no?
because it ends in O, but IO would be
What do you think? What, so think of your
Fourth. It's a
fourth,
non-no.
right,
Learn.
fourth.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a fourth, Okay, now we got what person?
Third.
Third, plural, what tense? This time it's Aaron. Perfect, just perfect. Or present perfect. We're just gonna call it perfect. Okay, so they have fortified. Okay? Or they fortified, or they did fortify. Okay? Now, if I change this to an A, what tense does that make that?
Imperfect.
Okay? Pluperfect.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, pluperfect. Okay? If I change this to an I, what tense does that make it? Future perfect. So remember, the U makes it perfect, A, pluperfect, and I is future perfect. Okay, we'll skip the next one. Let's do a couple of sentences. Okay? Do you see the value of looking at your verb and parsing it before you try to translate? I mean, you don't have to do that forever. But when you're starting, you really want to identify what's going on in those verbs, so you know who's doing what and when they were doing it. Okay? So, let's look at this. Where's the verb in this first one? Let's say this sentence together. Christus filius Dei et rex regum. Okay? Regum. Okay, so where's the verb? No, just S is the only one. Okay? So now we ask ourselves, who's doing the work? T. Third person.
Look for
Singular, present tense. Okay? Okay, so we're looking for what? Singular verb, a singular subject. Do you see one?
Yeah.
What? Christus? You got that? Good. Okay. What else do you see?
Well, Rex and the nominative too.
Oh, why is Rex in the nominative?
Because you have the S.
Okay, this is a linking verb. It's equal. So we have a nominative and a nominative. So we have a predicate, nominative. Excellent. Okay, what else we got in this sentence? Remember, linking verbs, no direct objects, so don't look for them. Any?
Is regum an adjective?
No?
No.
No? Okay.
No? Anybody know what?
Genitive plural.
Genitive plural. Okay. Rex, regis, regi, regem, reged, regates, regum, regibus, regates, regibus. Right? So we got, okay, what else we got?
Is that a positive or a
Oh, I love it. We have an appositive. Remember, appositives will be in the same case as the nouns that they are in opposition to. Not opposition, but apposition. Okay? So, in this case, it's an apposition to Christus, so it has to be in a nominative case, also filius. We have one left. What is this? Okay, what case? What do we got? Genitive, excellent. A lot of times the genitives are right after the nouns that they go with. Okay, so who wants to translate this? Okay, Tyler?
Christ, Son of God. Yeah, Christ, Son of God, is King of Kings.
Anybody want to change anything he said? Right. Christ, Son of God, is King of Kings. Now remember, we have to add articles. If we want to, you don't have to. You don't have to. But if we want to say Christ, the Son of God, is the King of Kings, we can. I mean, maybe it sounds a little better. Maybe it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's look at the next one. Where's the verb? Okay. Do you see the verb? Okay, what are we doing with it? What do we got? Let me do it really fast.
You have a
First conjugation. Yeah, but let's start with the person. Third singular present. Excellent. Okay, so we're looking for a singular subject. Is there one? Excellent. Okay, so we got our subject here. Now we'll look for a direct object. Is there a direct object? Because we know this can take a direct object. Is there a direct object? Okay, what do you guys think? Could word two-tone be direct object? How do you know? How do you know? The EM ending is an accusative case ending. So you got a direct object here. Okay? Now we have 3 other words to deal with. Okay, anybody want to talk about these 3 other words? What do we got? Okay, so you got an adjective. What about this one? Okay, adjective. We'll deal with that in a second. And what do we got with millitone? Okay, think about your ending. You gotta know what declension. It could be if the word was second declension or fourth, that could be accusative singular. But it's a third declension word, and so then you say in your chart, there is this EMF, genitive plural. So you see why you need to know what conjugation and what declension every word belongs to. Okay, now let's talk about these 2 things before we finish. What do they modify? Okay, we'll draw an arrow.
Leader.
Okay, so which one modifies leader?
I believe both of them do.
Okay, I love this. You think bonus does, why?
UF, which is male.
Male, like so what? Remember, our adjective?
Never mind.
So that one's sort of
Was it
nominative, masculine, singular, and now what about monument? It's feminine, accusative singular, feminine, accusative singular. Does that make sense? Okay, who wants to, now we can translate it. Who's got a translator? You don't have to parse every sentence, but sometimes this really helps you. Okay? So, I know. Okay. No, it's okay. Who wants to translate it? Go ahead, Jen.
The good leader praises.
Excellent.
Sorry. Magnum virtue of the military.
Or of the soldiers.
It's either
Greater large.
Greater large. Whatever makes
The great virtue.
right. Now, who remembers why is bonus after ducks and why is monument before where two-tone?
Quality.
Okay. Quality goes after, quantity goes before. Excellent. Okay, let's look at this one. Am I out of time? Almost. Oh, we can finish. No, we can finish both of these. Okay. Any, say, laudabant. Where's a verb?
Laudabant.
Okay, so we'll give it a verb and let's do it fast. What's conjugation? First conjugation. Third.
Plural.
Plural. What tense? What tense?
Oh, present. Right?
Imperfect.
Imperfect.
Oh, thought.
Okay, so imperfect tense, we got that there. Okay, so what's our subject? We're looking for a subject. Right, AE, right? We got our subject. Okay, what's say? Somebody tell me what say is. It's not a direct object. Well, it sort of is a direct object. Yeah, it is. I'll give you that. You're right. You're right. It is a direct object. I was looking for a different answer, but that's okay. What else do we call say? Sui, sibi, say. Thank you. Reflexive pronoun. Okay? Excellent. Okay, so how are we going to translate this? They. Okay, they were praising themselves. Good job. They were praising themselves. One more. Where's your verb? Intendere. Okay, now, okay, do you know what conjugation in kendo is? I think it might be a new word.
It's a third.
Thank you. It's third. I was counting on
You
him.
said it's more rules than third.
Okay, third. Now, what person?
Third
Singular. What tense? Eros.
That would be.
Perfect. Excellent. Perfect. Okay, so now do we have another subject? Does anybody see a subject? Imperator. Okay, good. How about any direct objects?
Yes, towns and cities, oh, but
Okay, so we got a compound, direct object, right? And by the way, careful about that one. Okay, so who wants to translate this now?
Wow, that's just mean.
the
Fine.
general
Okay, the general
had set fire or had burned.
had burned or had set fire.
To the,
Or had set fire to.
to the towns and, or the cities and towns.
The cities and towns. Okay, remember these neuter nouns have a in it, nominative and accusative plural. Okay? It's been great having you guys. I've enjoyed every minute. And some of you I guess I'll see on August 19th. Wow.